Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order of the Walpole Select Board on April 9th, 2020. It is now 6:30. This is our third meeting that we have done with Zoom. We are being recorded by Fact TV, which I think some of you may be able to, you may be able to access it through your Facebook. We have with us Steve DeLessio, Cheryl Mayberry, Sarah Downing, and Regina Borden, whom you can't see, but who is our secretary and will in fact produce minutes from this meeting. Today, if any of you heard the governor and Dr. Chen, particularly at 3 o'clock when they had their usual public meeting to let us know what's going on, they were positive about the fact that mitigation is working, and that by that they meant the fact that we are distancing ourselves from one another, that we are washing our hands, that we're not congregating, are working. But that is no sign that we are suddenly to stop doing all of that, because they also made it clear that they expect that there will still be a spike in the virus within the next 2 weeks or so. So at this point, we're going to go happily along, staying in our individual, well, maybe not happily, but we're going along, staying in our individual places. So I'm going to start tonight with the agenda that you can see up on the screen. And I'll ask for Steve, do you want to handle accounts payable? Where'd the voices go? Sarah? Have we lost everybody?
No, I'm here.
Okay, Cheryl, you take it away then.
I moved
Yeah,
to
we
approve.
lost Steve.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
there he goes. He's going to come back.
Are you back with?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but it's logging me out and then bringing me back in again.
Well, we'll see if we can keep you. Cheryl is going to take the first
Okay.
item.
I moved to approve the accounts payable check register in the total amount of $51,610.57 for checks issued 4/10/2020.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments about it? I reviewed all of these things earlier, well, yesterday, actually. A large portion of these accounts were with Houghton, and many of them applied to water and sewer. If there are no questions, I'm going to call roll call vote. Cheryl?
I agree. Yeah, I. Yes.
Yes?
Aye.
How about you, Steve?
Aye.
All right, and I vote aye. The ayes have it, so the accounts payable is approved and passed. Okay, let's go to the next one, payroll. You want to take that again, Cheryl?
Sure. I move to approve the payroll register totaling $25,150.95 dated 4/10/2020 and the 9/41 payroll tax transfer in the amount of $4,708.18.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Are there any questions about it? Hearing none, I'm going to call roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
And I vote yes as well. So that's a unanimous vote, and we approve the payroll for 4/10/2020. Okay, the next item. Who wants to grab that? Cheryl or Steve? Which one of you?
I make a motion to approve the select board minutes and the SAU 60 informational meeting minutes of April 1st, 2020.
Second.
All right. Are there any questions or comments about that meeting, those meeting minutes? Hearing none. Cheryl, I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Steve?
I see his lips moving, but I can't hear him.
It's moving. but-
Aye.
Oh, there he goes. Okay. And I vote aye. The ayes
Aye.
have it so that the select board and SAU 60 Informational meeting minutes are approved. The next one. Steve? Cheryl, why don't you take that? I
Okay.
think he's coming
Okay,
in.
yeah.
I
I
make a
move to-
motion to accept the select board minutes of April 2nd, 2020.
Is there-
Second,
Thank you. Are there any questions about that or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Cheryl?
aye.
Steve? We've lost him again. Steve,
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
do you vote for those minutes?
Yes,
All right.
aye.
On I have vote yes, all in favor. We are all in favor. So the select board minutes of April 2nd, 2020 are approved. The next one, Cheryl.
I move to approve the non-public select board session dated April 2nd, 2020, with the minutes to remain sealed.
Steve?
Aye.
No, well, you all have to second it,
Second,
please.
Second, I'm sorry, second.
That's all right. Are there any
Trying to fix the problem.
any
Aye.
questions or comments about this? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Cheryl?
aye.
Steve?
Aye.
I vote yes. The ayes have it to approve the non-public select board session for April 2nd, 2020, and they will remain sealed. Let's go on to current use applications. Cheryl, you want to pick that up, please?
Sure. I move to approve the current use application for map 3, lot 12, sublot 3. It's just, I guess there were prior applications that were never registered, so we're just finalizing the approval for the current use application.
Correct.
Second,
Steve? Thank you. Are there any questions or comments about this at all? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Cheryl?
Aye.
Steve?
aye.
And I vote yes, so map and lot 3, sublot 12, 3 is approved. The next one, Cheryl?
I move to approve the current use application for map 3, lot 12, sublot 6. It is a lot across the street from the lot we just approved, and together they qualify for current use.
Thank you.
So-
Is there a second?
Second,
All right, any questions or comments about it? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Steve? Cheryl?
Aye.
Steve? We're calling for a vote. We've lost you again. Well, I'm voting yes, and it only,
aye.
oh,
Oh, there he goes.
okay. All three of us have voted in the affirmative,
I'm here.
so the current use is approved. The next one, Cheryl, Veterans Tax Credit.
I move to approve the veterans tax credit for map 20, lot 58. And because the applicant moved within Walpole, we just need to move it with the applicant and not the property. So they have an existing credit. We're just moving it to their new location.
Good. Is there a second to this? We've lost Steve again. I'll second that. And are there any questions about it at all? I've read this.
Yep, you're back. Everybody's back. Everybody's there?
Yeah,
We're
all
here. We can't see you, Steve, but we can see that you're there. I mean, we can hear you.
We can hear you now. I ask you to vote for the Veterans Tax Credit. I think
I'm
we've-
here.
Okay, did you hear that I asked you to vote for the Veterans
Yep.
Tax Credit? Okay, if that's a yes from you, the map and lot 20, sublot 58 for the Veterans Tax Credit are approved. It was unanimous vote. I wanted to go to you next, Steve, to handle, well, no, we've got to do the timber intents first. So Cheryl,
Yes.
that one, and then we'll go to Steve with the building permits.
Yep,
Okay.
hopefully
I
I can
move-
hang in there.
I move to approve the timber intent for map 5, lot 11. It's a property off County Road. And they didn't cut when they did their intent last year. So it looks like they're just renewing it to do it again this year.
Fine. There a second?
Second,
Any questions about it? I should think Cheryl has explained it. If I hearing no questions, then I'm going to call for a vote. Cheryl?
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
and I vote yes as well. The ayes have it. Map and lot, the timber intent for map and lot 511 are approved. Let's go to building permits. And Steve,
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to pick this up, please.
Yep. I make a motion to accept building permit 2020-09 based on conditional site plan approval of the planning board dated 4/7/2020 for 532 Main Street, LLC, and they are going to add a 6-foot by 100-foot porch onto the existing building. The condition for the site plan is that they will go to the site, to the planning board as soon as the planning board resumes to get a formal approval.
I think we discussed this a bit last week. And
Yes.
we've also seen now, because they were sent to us earlier, the plans for this as well. We've seen what that porch is going to look like across the front of the building. Are there any other questions or comments about it?
So this is for a porch and for a roof, right? The
It's
porch
really-
with a roof?
Really a roof extension
Okay,
that creates a covered walkway, if you will, a boardwalk.
yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Did we have a second on that? I know Steve moved it, but did you second?
yeah, I did, and then you asked if there were questions.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. If there are no other questions, I'd like to call for a vote. Steve? Steve, can you hear me? Cheryl?
Aye.
And I.
All right, and I vote yes. as
Aye.
well. Okay, so we have a unanimous vote which approves that building permit with all of its conditions, that it will go back to planning. All right, how about the second one, Steve? Will you take that? Okay, Cheryl, how about you doing that?
I move to approve building permit 2020-10. It's for the cigarettes on Old Keene Road, map 18, lot 18. And they're going to build a 12-foot by 15-foot breezeway.
We were
Second.
all sent copies of this as well. Is there a second from you, Steve?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments about it? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Cheryl?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
And I vote yes as well, which means we approve unanimously the building permit for 20-10, lot 1818. Okay, and now how about old business? I think you, Steve, do you have some things?
I had some pictures of the reuse center going up or starting to be worked on, but I think that's causing some of the problems. So I'm going to leave it off for tonight.
Okay,
But the reuse center is up and going. They've dug the foundation and poured some of the footings. They'll pour the walls probably on Monday. And we're hoping to have the concrete work finished by the end of next week. We have 2 purchase orders to be signed. One is for the construction and one is for the concrete. The other is for the building itself.
I think they were both included in our accounts payable,
They-
weren't
I don't think so. Unless
Okay.
there's no other accounts payable, because it amounts to about $42,000.
they? Okay, all right, then they were with the Houghton things that I looked at and read, so that's why I thought they might have been
Yeah,
included.
yeah, and they both go against warrant article number 4 at this point.
Yes, they do, so, but they'll need to be signed by us.
Yes, I want Sarah to sign those 2 purchase orders on our behalf.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Yes, Cheryl?
Second.
All right, are there any questions about authorizing Sarah to sign those purchase orders? I'm not sure she's listening to us right now. I think
It
she,
looks like she is.
oh, good, I'm glad she nodded, so yes, she
I'm
is.
gonna go off again,
I'm
I'm sure.
here.
Okay, good. Are there any other questions about this?
Oh, you're back, Cheryl.
No,
Here-
I saw I saw some pictures Ben sent me, and it's looking really good. It's coming along, so
All
I'm
right,
excited.
expects to be finished by May approximately?
I think that's what Steve said.
Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah, it'll be up and going in another I think by the end of May is what we're targeting. Yeah,
Oh, okay, all right.
yeah. We're targeting the end of May to be finished.
Well, let's call for a vote. May I hear from you, Steve? We need a vote, Steve. Okay, Cheryl?
I'm
There
not
he
sure
is.
what the problem is, but I can tell as soon as the voice
Oh.
breaks up.
So are you motioning, or you're saying aye, Steve, to that?
I said
motion?
aye for the purchase orders, yes.
All right,
Okay, and then aye.
and I vote yes as well. So we have moved to authorize Sarah to sign the purchase orders for the reuse center plans at the recycling center. The next item on this is not really much for discussion. It's just that the governor has said there is no extension for licensing your dog. So it is important that you make an appointment with the town clerk to go in and license your dog this month. And that should appear in our minutes. I had a conversation with Sandy earlier in the week as town clerk and our tax collector, and she is very satisfied and happy with the fact that people are making appointments, they are keeping their appointments, and they are not crowding into the lobby so that they are not causing congestion or mingling with a lot of other people. And the fact that we now obviously have the plexiglass in front of the office, they all feel much safer and that they're observing the rules they're supposed to be. If we look at the pending further actions, I think there is nothing at this point, unless some one of you has a comment to make under any of these. The lights are still pending. Town deeded properties. The town may not deed properties at this point. That's one of the governor's orders. We cannot tax deed properties. We can send out tax liens, but we may not deed properties. Cheryl, did you learn any more about the needs for the school flashing sign?
It was the request. I did ask for further clarification, but when I went back to look at the original request, it was about having a flashing speed limit sign.
Oh, all right.
So I did ask her to just clarify a little more, but that's what the original, I went back and reread the email, and it's for a flashing speed limit sign for kids that are playing as people kind of speed up the hill, whether school's in or out. They were looking to maybe have a reminder for people to slow down as they come up the hill and go around the corner.
We do have a flashing speed limit sign in front of the Walpole Middle School. So I think, well, when I spoke with the police and with the highway department, I think they were equating that to what's already up there. But so they don't have a flashing speed limit sign. All right, I'll bring that up again then. Thank you. I appreciate your doing that.
You're welcome. And we'll have the highway. I did make the request to Mike Rao for the paving list, an equipment list, for any sort of major projects. I wanted them to provide a list, and he told me that he would have that to me, but not for this meeting. But I'll be able to get that to you next week, if not before.
And I haven't done anything yet on the ARM funding. Frankly, I've spent a great deal of time on our bond application, which is multiple pages. A number of us are working on that to get it ready for approval so that you can all see it and that we can get it into the bond bank at an appropriate time. So I'll pick up the ARM funding later. Under old business, I want to bring up something because the last time we all met as together, we saw from folks, some neighbors from Old North Road who were concerned about water problems, and that water problem issue has come back today in terms of this very heavy rain. And I don't know, Cheryl, whether you have seen those emails which came late this afternoon, really within about probably an hour and a half ago.
I did see, I didn't get a chance to read all of them, but I did see that some stuff was going back and forth.
Well, on Monday, the highway department was in fact digging in the yard of Mervyn Stevens, who is at the corner of Old North Main and North Road, and they were looking for a dry well. I
Oh,
never
yes, I remember that email
remember
several
that.
days ago, yeah.
And I spoke to Mr. Stevens, whom I've known for a long time. One of his concerns was that we had not alerted him that we were about to do that. He felt when he left our meeting of 3 weeks to a month ago, the last time we were all together, that we had indicated we would notify him if we were about to do something or tell him what our intent was. And we sort of dropped the ball. So that has come up again, and Mike Rao's plan, as he communicated to us, was that it needs to have a dry well. And I was under the impression they were going to put one in if they didn't find one, but they didn't find one. So to put one in, we need to have an easement from Mr. Stevens to do that. And I propose that we in fact follow up with him and get that easement so that we can in fact put a dry well on his property so that it will know, so that heavy rains such as we've had today, and it's really was torrential at times, does not flood the road, his yard, or other properties in that same vicinity.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the issue was that we asked Mike Rao to come back with the plan, and Mike never came back with a plan.
Right.
Well,
He
it was-
said he said he needs a drainage easement
yes,
before he can order anything. Okay.
Yeah, we know what need, right.
So
But-
how do we go about, so we get that from what, the property owner?
yes, yes.
Yeah, Mike knows how to do it. He's done it before on other properties.
Oh, okay.
It follows the property so that should that property be sold, we still have the right to maintain that well and keep it in good order. All right. Well, so how do you want to proceed? Do you want me to speak to Mr. Stevens? Do you want to speak to him, Cheryl? Or do you want to follow up with Mike?
I can follow up with Mike if you want to just reaffirm to Mr. Stevens of what the plan is.
Yes, yes.
He might be more at ease since he's been talking to you right along.
I'll be happy to talk to him. Are we in agreement then that we will all do that?
Yes.
Steve? I think we've lost Steve.
Oh, there he is.
Whatever the problem is, I don't know. I will investigate it after this is over, though.
Well, you know, there is a high wind advisory until midnight.
And that
and-
may be part of the problem.
Maybe. I don't know.
What
I've
I
never had it do this before, so might have to reboot everything.
Steve, I ask if you would be in agreement with Cheryl working with Mike, and I will
Oh,
work with
absolutely.
Stevens, and
Yep.
we'll coordinate, obviously.
But I think we should write a generic letter to, the neighbors up there, so they all know what's going on.
I'll be glad to draft that.
Yeah, just something to say, this is our plan for that area, because I think everybody that came in that night, we said we'd have a plan to them,
Yes, we did.
Um,
We did.
which we really didn't do, so.
I'll send out a short letter at this point, and when we have a specific plan, we'll tell them what it is, all right? I mean, when we have more than what we know about right now, if there's other work to be done. Let's go on to new business.
Yeah, I would just keep it broad at this point, but it's certainly a problem up there for sure.
Oh, it is. It is. Water in that entire area is a problem because it all runs down that hill.
I make a motion to accept cemetery deed 5.
Is there a second?
Yeah,
Second.
the general feeling, I think, from people that I've talked to in the other areas of the town as well about you want to,
We're losing you, Steve. You made a motion that we approve cemetery deed 579, and I think Cheryl seconded that. Are there any questions about that?
I don't know what the heck's going on.
We lost him.
I'm back.
Okay,
Yeah.
hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote for the cemetery deed. Cheryl,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye,
And I vote yes. We have approved the cemetery deed 579. I'm sorry, what were you trying to say, Steve? You kept.
Oh, I was just saying that in general, people that have talked to me about the road damage from the plowing and stuff all feel that it's gotten worse in the last 2 years. So we need to be attentive to that.
Yes, I agree.
I do agree there have been some problems. I would say just within this past year, we've seen
Yeah.
more.
So,
Well, I think when you don't have a substantial amount of snowfall and you don't have a real hard frost, you know,
Right.
I think they need to be, just like you said, a little more aware of how close they're cutting that corner back so that they're not damaging the lawn areas.
yeah, but
Because there's
even
very
in the village,
unforgiving.
yeah, I mentioned to Peggy, we had a complaint in the village too, that somebody sent me a email on for the same type of damage.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
Okay,
the next item is the ZBA letter asking us to write a letter to Jiffy Mart about their signs, particularly the flags which are waving. Did you all have an opportunity to see that letter?
I saw the letter, and then I know we had asked for some photos and stuff, so I understand. I've seen the signage down there, and there is a lot of stuff on the lawn as you're driving south on 12. And just past the entryway, there is, you know, there's like a diesel sign. There's a couple of things in the yard right there. So I have seen all the signage there, but I would like to see the photos because I haven't been down that way.
I haven't either, not for some time, not for 3 weeks, but
Right.
I think rather than pulling Jiffy Mart out of the loop, I think we should notify all of the businesses on that area that if these flags are not to the zoning ordinance, then we gotta restrict all the stores from doing it, because it's not just Jiffy Mart. It's
True.
every one of them down there.
do they all have these flags now? I mean, Steve, you're still out.
Yeah, at different times,
Yeah, I've seen them on the other side of the road.
not all
across
at
the
the same time, but at different times.
Yeah, I got a complaint last year about those kind of big cloth wavy
Yeah, they're
vertical
waving. They're
sign.
like
Yeah,
flags. They're
that
almost
those were, yeah,
flags.
that those were in violation of the zoning ordinance as well.
So how do you want to handle this then? You want a letter sent to, I mean, the zoning board is only asking us at this point
So,
to write to the gas station, the Jiffy Mart.
yeah, I would suggest we remind Jiffy Mart.
I'll write a letter for them and send it out to you for your approval. How's that? But then
That's
we have
good.
to identify the other people before we can send out a letter that catches everybody
Yeah,
else.
that catches up to everybody.
Yeah, because I can only think of 2 at the moment. I don't know how many you've noticed, Steve.
I've noticed at times Tractor Supply puts them out and then they take them down. And if there's a big
Okay.
sale, they put one that says sale on it, it's
Yeah.
at different times. The person that saw this happened to be down there on a day that there was lots of them out,
Right.
but they come and go.
Yeah,
Well, I think as they all struggle while we're all staying home, they're wanting to let people know they're open.
Yeah, and like I said, like sometimes they do it when there's a big sale going on at one of the stores and it's up for about a week or 2 and then it comes down. But if it's not to the zoning ordinance, then they all need to be reminded.
because we shouldn't single one person out, one
Right.
business out. We should
Yep.
tell them all.
Yep.
Well, let's write a letter specifically to Jiffy Mart first. Then we can remodel that letter, so to speak, and send it to everybody along there that they are not to use those signs.
Right. I even looked at the zoning ordinance to make sure it's clear.
It may not be.
So before we send that note, I think we should look at the zoning ordinance in the letter that we got, in the email that we got, or the letter, everything was in quotes except for the line that said about waving flags. It said generally accepted. So we have to see what that really says.
As in general, they're not permitted except for used for public safety purposes.
But that wasn't quoted in the letter. Everything else was quoted.
So I don't know whether that comes out of something else and maybe not be in the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, I think we should just review that real quick before we send a letter stating that they're in violation.
I wouldn't quote that because I'm not sure it comes from the zoning ordinance. Okay, we'll find out. And when somebody reads our minutes, they're going to call us anyway about it. So the next item is the recreation area.
Yep.
And the town common. And we all communicated today back and forth about this. And we have already indicated in the past, in another meeting, that we felt the recreation area should be closed, that there should not be groups down there playing sports. Groups are not to exceed 10. There should be fewer than 10. And I have had a couple of complaints that there are pickup basketball games going on. The police, of course, are concerned about whether they have the right and how they enforce such things. But it also came up because, of course, we have a park in North Walpole, which I think we felt was also to be closed. And that raises the issues of whether the town common or the Drewsville Common should also be closed. I spoke at length today with Lieutenant Sanctuary, who was very concerned that we were going to keep people away from any of these places when nice weather comes and the people have the need and the urge to be outdoors, whether it's sitting on a bench or whether it's down at the tennis courts or anywhere else. The problem is that allowing people on all of these properties does not meet the governor's mitigation orders, which in fact were discussed at great length today. Sitting on a bench, as long as someone is 6 feet away from you, is not a problem. But I think when we start saying, yes, people can go out to the recreation area or to the playgrounds for that matter, one family leads to two families. And I know I sound like I'm being a curmudgeon, but I am concerned about this social distancing and not congregating. And I think we have to be clear in anything that we ask people to do, because there is going to be a school vacation and probably people will not be traveling. So they certainly will be looking for things to do, and hopefully we'll have some sunny weather soon. So I'd like to hear your comments. I've read some of them, but I'd like to hear them spoken up.
So,
Well, I'll go.
I agree with
I
you.
think we don't want to, I like the idea of being able to sit around the common. I agree that we shouldn't allow people to congregate. But I've seen people, including myself, sit on a bench at the common and have lunch.
Cheryl?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a little thing across my screen that said my internet connection was unstable.
Oh, okay.
So I agree with you, Peggy. I think that one leads to another needs to another. And what if, what if somebody was there and then other people thought they should be there, but then you were running over the 10-person limit, then who would get the priority? I think the fact that, we're not able to monitor them, these properties, and for public safety, I think we need to be in compliance with the governor's order. And I know some people are really unhappy about that, but it's a safety issue and something that we can't monitor and manage. And that's exactly what I told the rec director is they see people there and then they think it's okay for them to get there too. And the next thing you know, you've got a lot of people there and they're congregating. So I mean, as hard as it is and as tough as it is to say no, I still think that we need to remain closed because we can't monitor the use efficiently. So I'm with you.
Would you agree to allowing people to sit on a bench on the common or the park in North Walpole? Or,
Yeah, I have no problem with, I guess I have no problem with that, knowing, there's several benches in North Walpole that they could sit on and be 6 feet apart. That'd be like a person to a bench, because I don't remember, I think they're 4 or 5 feet wide or something. But again, my concern is you see some people there and then more people come and then more people. So I guess, part of my thought process is, please, we could just say, not to congregate, but hopefully people will use good judgment and stay the appropriate distance away from other people if they happen to be there. But I think officially our policy should be, that there's limited use or
I think we need to post them. The police are concerned about how they manage this when they see groups of people. Steve, I think, recounted to me the other day when he saw a group of people together, they were not very pleasant in their response to him when he told them that they shouldn't be congregating. And people feel that their rights are being violated. But I think if we are to continue to see good results from these mitigation things, we do need to post our parks and ask for no congregating. The Attorney General has released on March 27th, a very lengthy enforcement document and what they suggested for the police department to do. They don't indicate that they feel they should rush out and start fining anybody or ordering anybody off, but that they speak reasonably to people and point out why we have these orders from the government that we are not to be meeting in large groups and that we are to be distancing ourselves and for safety reasons and for the health of each one of us. So how can we post these properties? How
I
would
think
you?
we just post do not congregate
Okay,
and maintain distancing if you're going to sit on the benches.
I
I
like
don't know.
that idea. We'll have to get some made for all of these places. But I would continue our policy of having the recreation park closed.
And I'll add to that, Peggy, we have that little pocket park that the Hubbards donated.
Oh, yes. That should be included.
Yeah, that's what I'm,
Yes, it should be. Yes, that belongs to the town. And it rarely does anybody go in there, but it should be posted as well. Now, where do we buy these signs? Can we get some through the
right.
or can we get Brad potentially to find some for us?
Yeah, if we don't post it, people will just move to there.
Sarah?
Actually, Brad's already posted the rec park is being closed,
All right.
and he made wooden signs and had laminated closure signage on top of it.
Good.
And then he already did post North Walpole based on Justin Casarino had posted it. So he put more, again, firmer, more durable posting up there. We can change the signage, so if you want just no congregating, we can make it a lighter message.
The park is closed. Please do not congregate.
Yeah, I'd like to add that. Please do not congregate or maintain distance, whatever you'd like on there.
Yeah.
And we will
And how about for the common?
I think we should say that as well, that we should ask, I would put there, please maintain distance, do not congregate.
Yeah, that's fine. I know in Cruzville, I see, seniors walking every day and then they stop on the bench for a little while. But they're sitting at opposite ends of the bench.
Yes, I think that's true, although I haven't been out for a while.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about that?
Nope.
Okay. How about the next things from the DRA, the cyclical inspection monitoring report? Sarah, do you want to make any comments about that?
I think the DRA, what they do is, just to explain it, they're auditing Avatar. So
Yes.
they do a sampling and go in and make sure that Avatar caught all the changes on the property tax cards. And in one case, there were only a couple of errors. One, the field assessor missed a mini split on a house, and then there was another property where a shed had been removed and he should have caught that. So it's keeping Avatar on their toes. That's what the DRA's purpose is, just to make sure they're doing a good job.
Does Avatar get copies of this so that they make corrections?
Yeah, yes, they're copied on that.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions about it? I don't think we have to do anything about it, do we?
No.
Okay. Is there any other new business? I do remember one thing of old business that I should have brought up. I've been communicating with our attorney about the piece of property that we are going to take from the school that the warrant article voted to give to us. And he now is preparing a deed. And it was his suggestion that he prepare the deed first and that then we go to the planning board and ask for a property line adjustment. Does that make sense, Steve, to you? I don't think he was able to hear me.
It makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's an easy one to do either way.
Okay. All right. Fine. He also
No
said
one's going to object, I don't think.
we haven't found
Yeah.
the easement, which we found, which was recorded, contains the property description. So that's good. He can use that in the deed. We do not have the survey. We know that Heman Chase did it. And I've seen that at some point, and I don't know whether it was because Jim had a copy of it,
Good.
which may be, but Hawkinsmith's comment was there is a Heman Chase section in Keene at Cheshire County where the deeds are recorded, and he will check there to see if he can find a copy of it. It's evidently all of his, somehow section of his surveys. Although we know that he didn't get them all recorded, so we'll see what Attorney Hawkinsmith finds. I have a question for you, Cheryl. Is Michael Harrington still chair of the Board of Education?
The school board?
Yes.
As far as I know, I can double check, but I haven't heard otherwise.
Okay, because he's the man who will have to sign the deed.
Okay.
The person
Yeah.
who will have to sign the deed.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make sure that I know.
Okay. The last item on new business is the fact that we have been receiving thank you notes from all the people who were allocated money through our budget and whom Rich sent the checks to. And if you could see on your agenda, we got them from Southwest, we got them from Camp Dakota, from CVTC, which is the transportation company that provides rides, Monadnock Family Services, and CASA, the Court-Appointed Special Advocates for Children. They have all acknowledged those sums of money that we sent from our budget. Is there any non-public business that needs to come up tonight? I have nothing.
No, I don't have anything.
Steve, do you? Any non-public business? I think we've lost him again. We'll have to figure this out. Maybe weather impacts us.
I
Sarah?
have none.
Okay, thank
Nope.
you. Sarah, did you have something you wanted to say?
Nope, there's no non-public. We have no non-public on our end here.
Okay, all
Yep,
right,
no problem.
all right. Well, then we will stay and go on into Hooper trustee meeting. I don't think we need to leave this, do we, to do that?
No, I don't think so.
We should be aware that we are still being recorded by, I
I
believe,
make a motion, go to Hooper.
I'll second.
all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Steve? Aye, I agree. We go into Hooper, and we're going into Hooper, and the time is approximately 7:16 p.m. So the Hooper meeting is open now on April 9th, 2020. And the first item are Hooper trustee minutes.
I make a motion to accept the Hooper trustee minutes of April 2nd, 2020.
Second.
Second,
Second.
thank you. Are there any questions or comments about this that you'd like to make? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. Cheryl?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The ayes have it. The Hooper trustee minutes for April 2nd, 2020 are approved. Is there any other business or non-public business to come up before the Hooper trustees tonight?
I have nothing.
Okay, Steve, do you have anything?
Nope.
I don't either. All right. May I have a motion then to come out of Hooper?
I move to come out of Hooper.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. We're out of Hooper. And is there anything else that you might have thought of before we go out of the meeting altogether? I'll thank Sarah for putting this together, and I thank Regina for being part of the meeting. And Steve, we'll have to hope the weather isn't so windy next Thursday. And we'll be in touch along the way through the week. If there's nothing else, I'm going to declare us adjourned.